Hello, 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 hello. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing very well. It's Minka, and this is Minka moving through the clouds. Today, I want to talk about how I took my power back from abuse. No one came to rescue me, baby. I had to save myself. I just want to start with saying something about abuse. I was going to say, what is abuse? But scratch the the official meaning. You can Google that when you want. To me, anytime you're being treated in a way that makes you feel less of a person, less of a human, less of a soul, you are likely being abused, especially if this is a repeated behavior, sorry. Not saying that abuse cannot happen once. Certainly can, but in in most cases it is an ongoing repeated behavior, and sometimes I feel like people miss it or don't even understand what abuse is or even know that they are being abused. Such was my case. I didn't even know I was being abused. See, my nervous system was thriving on chaos. I grew up in a home where I was being abused. So naturally, when my husband was abusing me, it was the new normal for me. And I was thriving. I was going really well until the point when I couldn't take it. And after the whole thing happened, when I finally was free, and I was speaking to women who had been abused or had experienced abuse, I realized that some women stay too long or for so long. So I know my situation isn't the usual. In fact, the usual situation is for women to stay very long. I left him after, I think, completely 5 years together, 2 years dating and 3 years married. But I know people who stay longer. I know people who didn't realize sooner. So this is why I want to share with you today how I took my power back. And maybe through that, someone could hear something that they needed to hear. Maybe someone could feel validated, could feel seen, could feel heard. However it shows up for you, I just felt like I needed to share this. As I was saying, I really didn't know I was being abused because at the time, I got married at 25. I think 25, 26, going on 26. I was pretty young, especially for someone who lived a sheltered life in a way. I didn't really had much experience at that time. I did have some experience, but not much. I would still consider myself then a little bit behind in terms of emotional maturity and just knowledge of the world, really. I knew I was being treated wrong, but I grew up being treated wrong. I didn't understand that I was being abused because I trusted this man. I shared my pain with him. I shared some of my past traumatic experiences with him. I opened up to him. I really loved him. I believe that we were spending our lives together. He told me I was going to be safe with him. He told me everything was going to be okay. We're going to build a life together. But 3 months into the marriage, I started to regret ever trusting him. 3 months into the marriage, I started to see who he was. And by then, I was already pregnant. So I felt even more stuck. Then he hit me. He slapped me. Eventually, he started to insult me, use words that would really, really hurt. See, the words hurt me more because even when my mom used to hit me, I know that the bruises will heal in a week, or I can run and hide till she gets bored or tired of waiting for me and she won't have to hit me. But when she insulted me, the words she used to curse me out, those ones I kept. Those ones hurt. They went straight into my chest. I stored them in little jars in my heart, and they formed the belief I had of myself, a sense of myself growing up as an adult through my adolescence. The first words you hear about yourself from your caretaker or your parent figure, especially the dominant parent who's around more, are the words you will think of yourself as you grow up, as you go into the world. I went into the world thinking I was nothing, that I was worthless, that I was ugly, that the world would punish me for my sensitivity. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I was anything. So it's no wonder that I was able to attract someone like that who would treat me worthless too, who would treat me less than I deserved. It's not an excuse, but this is a very important point to remember, especially if you have kids. The words you say to them, how you treat them, they will carry it for the rest of their lives. They will remember it even after they heal from it. Because today I have checked those things. I have walked through them. You're still going to continue learning and relearning, because reparenting yourself is a lifelong thing. But believe me, even after you heal, you don't forget. You just now see it differently. And unfortunately, not everybody get a chance to do that. So I feel like it is in those days that most of the damage are done. And I really urge parents to do better, to be careful how they speak to their children, to work on themselves more so that they can raise their kids in a better way. Because you can't say, that's how I was treated too, so of course that's how I'm going to treat you. Oh, I treated them because that's how I was raised to. I never. Healing is our responsibility. What happened to us is not our fault, but the healing is always our responsibility. Anyway, as I was saying, I went into the world feeling like I was already nothing. I went in the world feeling like sorry, I kind of went somewhere there. I got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. something was bubbling inside. And the more he would insult me, the more negative words he would use on me, whoo, the more that girl inside was waking up. By that time, I feel like I have already had enough. I didn't know what abuse was. I didn't need to know it. I just know how I was being treated is wrong, period. All I knew is how I'm being treated is less human. It makes me feel less human. It makes me feel less of a soul. It degrades me. It makes me feel infuriated. It makes me feel angry. I started to feel angry. Anger is a sign. Anger is a warning. Anger is we are not being treated right. We're being treated poorly. Of course, how you respond with your anger is something that we should all learn. But anger is often a warning telling you you're being treated wrong. Hello? Something's going on here. And I listened. My mind had already left him before my body did. See, he thought he was going to abuse me, humiliate me, shame me, and then abandon me, and even tell me off that I should go and learn some respect, how to treat him better, when really what he's saying is how to obey him. Yeah, because he expected me to just go ahead with everything. And no surprise, that's the kind of girl he met, you know. That time I was a yes person. I was just going ahead with everything until I couldn't, because now it's not just me. I have a baby. And let me just take a step back. After I had my baby, things became even more clear to me. I see this little innocent child that I am now responsible for. It was no longer just about me. I knew that there was no way in hell that I was going to tolerate watching my child someday be treated the same way that I was being treated. No, never. No, I didn't. I knew that I was never going to let that happen. So I knew it was time to go. Lucky for me, he was already getting ready to abandon me. To him, that was me learning a lesson. But to me, it was over. Finito. Anyway, there was something in me. You can call it intuition, but I felt it was more spiritual than that. Something was moving me because I was in shock. I think I got to a place where something inside me was waking up, but also at the same time, there's something in me dead. So it was almost like a shift that I was going through, that where they were moving together, but they don't belong together. An old me that needed to fall away, and a new me that had a lot to learn. I followed whatever that voice is, whatever that pull is. At that time, I can promise you, I was even moving on autopilot. I had no plan, I had nowhere to go, I had no money, I didn't know who to trust. I did not know anything. All I knew is I need to survive. And that I did. I got a job. I quickly got some money from my dad, reported to the job, and I focused on healing. At that time, when I left, things escalated. So it's really important, if you suspect you're being abused, if you know you're being abused, if you know someone who's being abused, it's really important to know that You should plan before you leave. You should have a plan. You should always have a plan before you leave, and support. If you don't have support, get some support first. Make a solid plan and keep it hush hush. You don't want your abuser knowing your plans. You don't want them knowing you're trying to leave them. Not always, not all of them, but in some cases, abusers escalate when they know you are leaving. See, he was abandoning me because he thought he had control in accessing me. But when I left him and I put distance, because I flew back to the UK and I put some distance between us, he lost the fact that he felt he had lost control. That's when he escalated. So you really need to have a plan in place. If you were to ever leave, or you're thinking about someone who needs to leave, things like that, however that applies to you, have a solid plan, have a support, have a plan A, have a backup plan, have a backup plan of the backup plan. Like, for real, okay? This is serious. You're gonna need to find safety first, and then you can begin healing. We cannot heal in the places that broke us, and we cannot heal while we are still feeling unsafe or running for our lives or still in the situation. I see some situations where people stay and try to regain their sanity while in the situation to try and have some sort of control in it. That's not going to be the advice that I will ever give anyone. I can promise you that. I can promise you today, if I did not walk out of that situation and kept moving, even when I had no direction, not sure where I was going, I would be a dead woman today. I can promise you that. I would not live to tell the tale. So that would never be my advice, to say, stay and figure it out. No, the solution is do whatever you can to survive, to get to safety. Then you can begin healing. Because it's not until I got to the UK and I got some help and I started hearing about abuse that I started doing researches. I started to go online, look into being abused, and narcissism came up. I remember Dr. Ramani, I think I watched all her videos at that time. She was the one talking about narcissism. Oh my goodness. I was like, how did I not know this? How did I not know this? It was like a Bible to me at the time. I was just going crazy research. It was then that I was told about these things that I didn't even know. It was the questions I was being asked that made me realize I was being abused. Did they say that? Did they treat you this way? Did they make you do this? Did they force you to do that? Oh my God. I didn't know. I didn't know. Because my nervous system had gotten so used to that kind of chaos. But now, something in me is saying, it's over. It's done. We're done with this life. And it's time for us to learn who we are. So I embarked on a new journey. The old me had died, and I'm trying to give the new me a chance. But the new me came with a lot of baggage, because I had to go on a journey of healing, of growing, dealing with the grief of not being able to be with my child. Letting go of shame, guilt, letting go of what could have been, what should have been, letting go of the fact that my caretaker couldn't protect me from themselves, healing my inner child, learning to feel safe again in my body. Boy, I didn't feel safe in my body. No wonder my nervous system was a complete wreck. It was then I got into understanding nervous system healing as well. But the part that got better in me is for every milestone, for every healing, for every step I take towards my healing and my growth, I took my power back. I reclaimed a part of me back. I felt stronger. I felt better. I opened myself up to listening to spirit. I connected with my spirit guides. I started to learn the tarot. Obviously, I know how to do that because it came naturally to me. Trauma will open your senses. Trauma will definitely expand your psychic senses, especially when you allow yourself to do the work, to go through the healing, to go through the shadow work that you need to do. I went through a lot of therapy to understand why I was being abused, why I'm in this situation, and I wanted it to never happen again. So I paid attention in therapy. I never met a therapist that never said to me, I wish I had more clients like you. Because I was serious about my healing, baby. I was serious about my healing. Every single time I come to the end of therapy, I'm trying to mourn the fact that I'm gonna miss this person and they're mourning me. I see it all the time and they tell me, because I was serious about getting better. Not only getting better, I became almost obsessed with the human mind, the psyche, understanding why people behave the way they do, how we continually to repeat and reenact circumstances in our lives because we were comfortable in that. Maybe because we came from that. Some people thrive in chaos simply because they were raised in chaos, but it doesn't mean that it's okay. It doesn't mean that we should stay there. It doesn't mean that that's how life is. No. Maybe, and the way the universe works is you will continue to attract those situations because that is what you're putting out. That is what you're putting out there. Your energy is attracting more chaos because your subconscious mind is repeating those things to you. You say, I am not worthy, I am worthless, I am nothing, I don't deserve anything, because those are things that were told to you when you were growing up. Someone told you, your mother, your father, your caretaker, whoever was there told you that you didn't deserve good things. So you grow up believing that. Do you really think the universe will help you receive good things? No, because you don't even think you deserve it. So somehow the universe will try to help you by recreating that situation. You tend to attract those things because that's what you are attracting anyway. So you will keep repeating them until your mindset elevates. But the problem is our human mind sometimes stay there. We get stuck. We feel crippled. We stop believing in ourselves that we can leave, that we have the fight in us to change these beliefs. Sometimes we stay and accept it and say it's fate, or that's what we've been dealt with. But the universe always deal cards to you so you can have your pick. So you can shuffle them again and choose the one you want. And that's what we're supposed to do. But it takes a lot of willing to accept, to unlearn and relearn the things that we have been taught growing up, the things that we grew up with. We tend to repeat our childhood traumas into adulthood if we don't deal with them. So I would always advocate for therapy. I would always advocate for healing and coaching, whatever method you want to use. Because I didn't only use therapy. My tarot cards definitely helped me and my spirit guides. I'm very grateful to that. Okay. Because I was so open to healing, I was open to that modality, I was open to learning more through that. So, and I couldn't afford to be in therapy all the time, obviously. So, the times when I had to do my own shadow work, I would sit down and process what was happening within me. Your body is always trying to tell you something, your mind is always trying to tell you something. So, eventually, when I started becoming more safe in my body, I started to learn what was happening. My body would tell me what we are healing. If I'm a bit confused or not understanding it, I will ask my guides and they will tell me this is what's going on. And then I can work on it. So that helped me to grow. And the more I continued to do it, the more I felt more in control of my own life, even when a lot of the things that were happening were outside of my control, because I focused on the things that I could control. Even if it's one thing you take control of, you start to take your power back. You start to feel more in control of your life, because what really makes us feel completely hopeless is that the feeling of being out of control, maybe having to depend on someone. See, I wasn't afraid because I didn't have anything at the time. Everything I had was taken away overnight. I lost all my money. I didn't have a job anymore. I couldn't work. I couldn't be with my baby. Okay. I couldn't trust my mama. Okay. Yeah. And eventually I lost my dad. He was the only rock I had. But all those things were outside of my control. The only thing I had control of was my mind. The only thing I could change was my mind. The only thing I had control of was my healing. And I focused on that. And for each time I hit a milestone, something in me felt relieved. Something in me said, yes, this is where we're supposed to be. This is the path forward. I'm not there yet. Not where I want to be. But I'm sure as hell I'm grateful that I'm not where I used to be. That girl did not give up. That girl took that faith that she had to drop. The faith the size of it was like faith the size of a mustard seed, you say, of a little girl in me that changed the course of history for me and generations to come in my family. Because I can tell you what, no one in my family will ever experience what I did again. No one. Because I broke that pattern. I said no to that. I said nada. It ends with me. And having my daughter did help. But I'm pretty sure even without her, I would have continued to make that choice. Because I had enough. I got to a place, something in me said, we're not taking this anymore. Don't wait till a point where that choice is even taken away from you. Because I know that I follow these things. I talk to women that have been abused or have experienced abuse, because it's a topic I'm really, really passionate about. Because when you start to see how many women live with this, it's hard not to care. Don't wait until it's too late. Because for some people, when they wait too long, it becomes too late. Don't wait until it's too late. You have every power in you to change your life. to take back your power, to save yourself. Don't wait for anyone to come save you too. Sometimes all you need is that mustard seed size faith. The universe, God, whatever higher power you believe in, that's all you need to get you there. Because the moment I declared change, the moment I said enough, I felt something shifted in me already. I felt, and I started to see the help. Even without all the resources that I thought I needed, that I will need. Turns out I didn't need them. I just needed to trust. I just needed to trust. And baby, trust I did. And I'm so glad I did, because it got me to where I am today. I got better when I realized that I am now in charge of my life and that I get to shape what becomes me. I get to change the narrative of that life. I get to create the life that I envision, the life that I want. And it never ends healing. I will always say that. The whole unlearning, relearning is something that I continue to do till this day. And I'm allowing myself to do that. The difference now is I allow myself to do that. I'm not ashamed of crying, feeling whatever needs to be felt or pushed out of me. I'm accepting of who I am. I embrace that with compassion, with love, with understanding, with forgiveness. And sometimes when the tears want to flow, I let them, okay? I let them flow. I not cry only for myself, but for the women that came before me that couldn't break out of the chains. So I do it not only for myself, but I do it for them. I let it come out of me. And if you are in that situation, know that for every time you make that right step, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you're unsure, know that you will always be moving in the right direction, because the universe will always take care of you. You just have to believe and trust the little helpers along the way, because I trusted mine. Videos like this helped me. People who probably will never meet me or will never know me, but oh, how grateful I am that they decided to turn on that camera, and record whatever they had to say. I am grateful. And maybe that is why I'm doing the same. Sharing. Maybe someone needs it. I took back my power. I broke the chains. I set a different course for my life. I went on a new journey. And this is a better journey. This is one that I get to write. This is one that I get to be safe with. You have that power in you. Should you choose it too, it's yours. Thank you very much for being here. I pray for anyone who has gone through this or is experiencing it. I pray for them healing. I pray for them strength. I pray for them faith. I pray for them self-love, courage to do what is right, and to take control of their lives once again. And I hope that we continue collectively in the world to do more, because there's a lot more that we can do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I love you so much. I am Minka, and I'll see you on another one. Take care.